Hey, everybody. Welcome to our very first live GTS, where we're going to be talking about photography, life, and, things in general, from superpowers to just things, in life. Today, we have a very special guest, great friend of mine, one of our ambassadors, Mr. Esteban Gil, or Gil. So, welcome, Esteban. How are you?
Thank you. I love how you say my name, because it reminds me of my dad and my mom. There's only like two people that call me Esteban Gil, and that's usually my parents.
You call me old?
I mean, I do. I do refer to you as dad sometimes, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I take that as an honor.
It is an honor. Yeah. I mean, you had the responsibility to raise me as a GEEKOTO ambassador, and you introduced me to the brand, and you nurtured me as a photographer that first started using your products, and now I'm in love with them. So it's a good thing. Yeah.
Oh, good.
So,
good. Well, that's great.
Dad.
That's good.
Thanks, Dad, for the.
I will say you work on mijo. It's okay. You're welcome.
Call mijo, yeah. That's that. Yeah, that hits close to home. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
So again, welcome everybody. Thanks for spending some time. Honestly, we're kind of flying by the seat of our pants on this one. This is the very first one, so I'm sure I'm gonna mess up a couple of times or whatnot. But it's gonna be on the interwebs forever.
That's the way to do it, right?
That's what we do. Yeah. So here's the premise of what this is going to be. Basically, if you see kind of hot ones, it's going to be the same thing, except we're not going to be eating hot wings. We're going to be drinking tequila. And why tequila? Because I love tequila, plain and simple. Tequila is something that I grew up with and something that I really, really, really enjoy. So on this one, we're actually going to be drinking Lalo Tequila. If you guys see it right here, beautiful bottle. Made in the Los Altos of Jalisco, and cooked in brick ovens. Roller mill crushed, fermented in steel tanks, champagne yeast, open air fermentation. Great stuff. I've tried it and I really liked it. It's on the high side when it comes to pricing, but very great to enjoy. So we'll be enjoying Don Lalo. Do you like tequila, Esteban?
So I've never been like a straight liquor drinker, because I'm kind of a baby when it comes to alcohol. So I'll probably have like two. Oh, I'm absolutely lightweight. I'm definitely somebody that has like 2 beers in them, and I'm on a bar half naked, dancing to like a random song. But I definitely am not a heavy drinker when it comes to this stuff. I definitely appreciate it. I think it's something that I like when you explain to me all these little things about tequila. Like, I think when we had that workshop in Texas, you brought over some like special stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just cool to listen to this history behind it. I think it's definitely a cool concept. And then when you go drink it, and I go drink it, I take 2 sips, and I'm like, can I swear on this?
Yeah.
I'm completely shit-faced on the ground. Okay. So, yeah. So
cool. All right. Well, again, this one is, we'll see. We'll see how much of this bottle we'll finish. We have a lot of questions. We have a lot of things really a lot of things that we're going to be talking about. Dude, I feel like Conan O'Brien, just with no pompadour and
Coco,
a little darker. So
the Mexican Coco.
Yeah. I don't know what.
And I'm his assistant. What's her name?
I don't know.
I forgot her name. She's cool though. Their podcast is pretty awesome. So
we'll
get there someday.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So, all right, guys. Again, I do apologize in advance for the hiccups that we're gonna come across on this one, but I'm actually really, really excited.
Yeah,
really excited.
Fun
on this. So, again, start off, saludcita, and let's get started. Salud. Now, we are going to be sipping the tequila. We're not going to be slamming these.
That's very good.
It's good. It's good.
Yeah,
right?
I'm actually surprised. As somebody that isn't really a a straight tequila shooter. That's actually very smooth.
Yeah.
Well, how much?
That's
So
good.
how much does a bottle like this cost?
You mean a bottle?
Yeah.
A bottle. This was about $40 to $45.
So it's generally, I mean, when in the grand scheme of things, it's a pretty expensive bottle, right?
It's for the most part.
Yeah.
And,
Okay.
and here's the thing: when it comes to tequila, you don't really, the price doesn't really dictate how good it is.
Okay, because that's what I would make like
you
go
have-
to. I just think that the higher the price, the
Yeah.
better it'll taste.
Yeah. So definitely not. The price does not really reflect, the flavor of it. I mean, if that was the case, you would have like Casamigos,
I just spit all over the place. Just think Casamigos.
They just think.
Is
that,
and is that just more like a brand thing? Like if like Casamigos, I just automatically assume that it's a good brand. Is that not accurate?
No. So that's one of the big things with basically right now the celebrity tequilas that are coming out.
Okay.
They're kind of ruining the industry a little bit. Now, not a lot of them. There's some that are really kind of moving things and trying to do things a little bit better than others.
Well, I mean, so let me ask you this: so when you have a celebrity, like a big celebrity, actually creating a tequila, doesn't that do the industry a good thing? Where it's like sort of bringing more awareness towards the industry of tequila, and people will get more into it, and they'll.
I mean, it can to a point, but then tequila's already pretty popular. Now, what's happening with a lot of things is that, in order to make a fairly good tequila, you need, and again, I'm by no means an expert. There's much better ones out there that are Tequila Matchmaker. If anybody wants to, learn a little bit more, website, app, and stuff like that, they know a ton.
Yeah.
They have a lot of information out there. But 7 years, it's a good time to harvest, the agave. And what's happening now is that a lot of these, companies, since there is such a high demand, are harvesting them a lot sooner. So that you're getting younger plants, a lot more of them, and so what's happening, since they can't really get a lot of the flavor out, they're putting additives. Now, Lalo is actually one of the few that is certified additive free. Okay. So we have that. It's good.
Nice.
And that's what we're going to try to get as much, and not have too many of celebrity on there. And try to get some good ones out there. Not to say, like, again, but additives are not necessarily a good thing.
Okay.
So
that's good to know.
But yeah.
It's like putting presets on a tequila, right?
Yeah.
Not necessarily a good thing.
Yeah.
Are there any tequilas that where you put an additive in and it becomes really yellow?
That becomes a vintage. All of a sudden you're just like, let me add this, and and maybe we'll get a nice little vintage or what would be the equivalent of the film look in tequila.
Oh my God, yeah.
Well, Cuervo, there you go.
Yes, there you go.
Trying to make it look, let's put some yellow food coloring on there and make it nice and yellow. Make it try to look like an añejo.
Yeah.
I guess that would
so Jose Cuervo would be the sepia of tequila.
Yes. That's a good analogy.
This is a nice light and airy tequila. I'm going to take another swig.
Go for it.
It's very good.
Yes, please. So it is good.
I'm actually enjoying this. I like the taste of it. I think I'm definitely somebody that it just hits me right away. So I'm sure in 10 minutes from now, we're gonna have to be recording me on the ground.
Well, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to let that kind of kick in before I actually start. With all this.
Yeah, I'm excited for these questions. I didn't peek yet, but
start going. With that. So, we're gonna start a little easier. We're gonna start a little bit. Because one of the things that I want to do with this is like we want to go beyond the legend, of Esteban Gil. What's the core? What's the nucleus of the man?
We're gonna get real personal today, huh?
Oh yeah.
Is that why you're feeding me tequila? Because you just that's a recipe for potential disaster.
You
might see me crying here by the end of this.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Well, if it's not because of this, probably because you're just drunk, like shit drunk.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
crying
Oh,
on
yeah.
the ground.
Well, a
So,
combination of both.
so cool. All right, man. So, all right. So what is one thing that you wish you knew? You know, from the beginning, one of the questions that I got a lot when I was shooting, you know, full time and stuff like that. It's like, what is the one thing that you wish you knew when you first started?
Oh, that's kind of easy. I always talk about how I spent the beginning of my career trying to be like everybody else. I mean, even when I first started off, I always wanted to do what everyone else was doing. I always wanted to edit the way that everybody else was doing. I wanted to shoot my weddings the way everybody was doing. I was trying really hard to fit in with everybody else. And then I realized that in order for me to be successful, to actually stand out, I needed to do the opposite of what everybody was doing. So I love a quote from some douche called Grant Cardone. I'm sorry if he ever comes across this. He's like a super billionaire, but be motivated by the fear of being average. And I just look at that and I make sure that every time I pick up a camera, it's something that I make sure that every time that I do pick up a camera, I'm not just creating average work. I'm creating something that really stands out. And I'm also running my business in a way that kind of stands out. That's not just like everybody else. But if I started my business and somebody said, you're going to spend the next 4 or 5 years trying to fit in with everybody, and it's going to be a wasted 4 or 5 years. I always like to look at my career as like, well, I've been doing this for 10 years, but for the past 5 years, I've been like the only ones that I actually kind of count, because I spent the first 5 years of my career trying to figure out what everyone else and trying to be like everybody else. So yeah, I would definitely tell my younger self that try not so hard to be that average photographer, that to really try to stand out, to do the opposite of what everybody else is doing. So.
Okay, well, I mean, that's great. I mean, yeah, so that's great. I mean, that's a great answer. And yeah, that was one of the things I think that many photographers really kind of struggle with when they first, you know, it's like, oh, well, you know, Esteban is doing so good, so I'm just going to be like Esteban, or,
yes.
you know, so many other great photographers that are out there. And when in fact they kind of delays, you know, their basically the person or the photographer they'll become, you know, in the future. So did you always want to be a photographer?
No.
I
never thought that. I mean, I grew up in, my father was a struggling artist. He was he's a painter. He did a lot of paintings.
Yeah, that's that's what I started as a painter.
Really? Okay. Yeah. So he's a very good artist. He's very good at drawing. I still actually have some of his sketchbooks, and some of his paintings are in my house. He was a struggling artist. I always thought that I was going to end up in some sort of art. But life kind of happened when I was in like 16, 17 years old. There was a lot of personal things that happened that I ended up going into the workforce. I didn't have the opportunity to go to college or anything like that. But in the back of my head, I always kind of thought that I want to do something with art. And I always kind of had a camera with me. I always thought that I enjoyed just capturing things. And then one random Christmas, my mother gave me a Canon Rebel T3. I think it was a T3i or something. And I took a couple of pictures of my dog, Ricky, whom I miss very much. A little Yorkie, a little shit. He was such a little shit, but God damn it, I miss him. And then I just like everybody else, I think we all have sort of like a similar story. We just ended up taking a couple photos of like family members. I remember the specific shot of my aunt and my uncle during their vow renewals. And I got this awesome shot with my Kitlins, and I was like, wow, like this is incredible. It's still hanging up on their wall.
In your parents' house?
No, my aunt and my uncle.
Oh, your uncle?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then again, like somebody was like, I was in the workforce, and then I ended up getting fired from a job that I thought I was going to retire from.
And this is Advanced Auto Parts, right?
Advanced Auto Parts, yeah. Which again, we have that in common as well. Yeah,
right,
we both worked for Advanced Auto Parts. So I started off as a cashier, making like $7 an hour. I did end up working my way up to being a general manager. I did recruiting for them. I've always very much been somebody that has been throwing a lot of curveballs in life, and I've always also been somebody that has kind of made the best out of whatever little has been given to them. And
that's awesome.
And yeah, I was thrown a curveball. I went into the workforce, and then I just ended up not really having a passion for it. I ended up getting fired from there, and that's when I immediately went and said, you know what, I'm going to follow my dream, and I'm going to try to become a photographer, because at that time I did have that like ingrained in my head that I wanted to be a photographer. So that's when everything started. That's about 10 years ago. So
cool. All right. So yeah, so you kind of I mean, you grew more into the photography. Like it wasn't like one day, you know, since you were 5 years old, you wanted to pick up a camera and start shooting.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'd be lying if I said that. Like I had a dad that like put a camera in my hand when I was like a baby, and I started taking these awesome pictures. Like I wasn't that. I knew that I loved art. My dad very much instilled art in me, and it just kind of ended up working out where I realized I didn't have a passion for what I was doing as a career, and I knew that I'd taken photos, and I had a sort of a passion for that, and I just grew that after I lost my job at Advanced Auto Parts. So, yeah, Advanced Auto Parts, terrible company. Hopefully, they never sponsor your podcast.
No, I don't care. I mean, I work for them too. They are a shitty company.
Yeah.
So
God, I mean, it's just retail overall. I mean, I feel like retail, like when you're trying to inspire people, and as somebody that loves community, as somebody that absolutely loves the idea of talking to people, networking, as somebody that ran a small box retailer and trying to inspire people that are making $7 an hour. And then telling them, hey, you're an amazing person and you're a great worker, but I'm going to give you 6 cents raise for this year. Like there's just nothing inspiring about that. And it's just really tough to do. So yeah, I definitely did.
That's definitely that was tough. And that was me. That was the one where they didn't even like shake or put, you know, a steak in front of you. It was like a quarter of a hot dog. It was like, here you go.
Yeah, there's budgets.
Come and get it. I was like, you poor student. You.
And if you don't like hit a certain number, you're screwed. Like it's like you're just a number to them. And I'm not just specifically pinpointing them out, but I'm just talking about just overall like corporate environments where you're just a number to somebody. And if you don't hit your numbers, you're on a chopping block and they can let you go right overnight. So.
Yeah, so that's definitely something that we definitely have in common. I think that was one of the first things that kind of came out when we were first, talking about it. But, cool. So you went from a Rebel 3 to you shooting Leica now, isn't that it?
No, it took me a while to be actually to get into to be fortunate enough to be able to afford some of these higher end cameras, but. I'm a Canon shooter. I love my Canons. I've gone through pretty much every system. I think I've gone through. I started off with a Canon T3i, then I went to Nikon, then I went to Fuji, then I went back to Canon. But right now I shoot an R3 as my main camera, which I absolutely love. I've only had it for a couple months, and an R5 as my backup, and then I have my third body, an R6. So I have sort of like the main mirrorless cameras.
Yeah.
But Fuji,
So the R3 is just some. So people that don't know, the R3 is the new Canon.
That's like their
which replaces
flagship.
The
1DX.
D1, 1DX, right?
Yeah, it's like their flagship, like professional body that a lot of like the Olympic shooters use. I love it because I think the autofocus is slightly better than the R5. The body has better ergonomics. But yeah, I shoot that now.
It's a great camera.
Oh yeah, they're great.
It's a great camera. That's for sure. So.
But yeah, I went into that, and then I also shoot Leica as more like fun, or I also cover most of cocktail hour with Leicas. Leica is just one of those brands that they just kind of inspire me to pick up the camera because it's more mechanical feeling, and it just makes me appreciate the process of creating an image rather than just like letting the camera do everything for me. So yeah, I've always been a fan of that. So
cool. So. Do you have like a favorite lens for your Leica? I mean, do you have kind of like a go-to?
Yeah. So my favorite Leica camera that I own is an M10 monochrome. It's a Lights Wetzlar edition.
And that's the black and white.
It only shoots black and white. It's a completely black and white sensor. They only made 600 of them, so I'm a proud owner of one of them. And
you're so extra. It's like, oh, I have a Leica, but only it's the limited edition.
Well, actually, it's funny because they just announced I just bought a Canon, a Leica SL2S, and and when I bought the SL2S, like 10 minutes later, like 10 minutes later, they announced a Hodinkee Leica Q2 Ghost Edition, and they're only making 150 of those, and I was like, damn it, should I just
like what? Just like what's that for? Like ghost hunting? Like what the heck?
It literally is the same exact camera. It just looks different. It's physically different. It's not physically different as far as the body functionality or anything like that. It just looks different. It's a different color. It's a really good looking camera. and the limited edition of them, they actually do limit them. So it's not like these limited editions that only like they say it's limited and they make like 5,000 of them. Like this is actually 150 copies of them. But to go back to the M10, that's my favorite camera. It shoots black and white. I've always been a big believer in shooting black and white, you tend to appreciate composition more. You tend to really be more aware of contrast and highlights. I think that's really greatly helped me since I started using it. And my favorite lens is actually a 28 millimeter Summilux, which I just bought maybe about a year ago or something. And I love the 28 millimeter focal length. I think it's very cinematic. I think it's a great. I love street photography, which I'm sure we'll get into a little bit later. Yeah. I'm an amateur street photographer, but I very much appreciate the artistry behind it. So, but yeah, the 28 millimeter Summilux 28 1.4 is what I.
Is that really cool?
Very expensive lens, but it's totally worth it. So
yeah, well, the next question was like, why? Well, I got a pretty good explanation. Of what it is. So when you go out shooting, you go shoot, and we're having some little technical difficulties with my camera. So if you guys see some little rainbow colors like you just did there, something's going on. So, but anyways, as long as you guys can hear me, it's fine. We'll switch back and forth. But anyways, so we have with like when you go out shooting, I mean. You were talking about street photography, like earlier and stuff like that. But let's go back to, since you do a lot of weddings and stuff like that, like when you start off at a wedding, do you have in mind, like, do you get to know your clients and then you're like, oh, I want to capture this for them? Do you have to, or is it, and I'll go back to when I used to shoot and stuff like that, how I approached it. But I want to hear, like, what do you have? And I want honest answers only. So this is truth juice.
Hopefully no clients are watching this, right? So I'm very much somebody that works really well under pressure. I like the idea of putting myself under pressure. I think I become more creative when I do that. I think that I don't like to have a plan. I don't like timelines. I don't like shot lists. I'm, again, somebody that before the wedding, I don't really like to have everything planned out for myself. I like the idea of walking into a wedding venue, especially if it's a newer wedding venue, and just kind of letting my mind go a little bit crazy. But I think it's just one of those things where, like, if the less prepared that I am, I think the better I end up working. And that's just my personal preference. Yeah. I think that there are people sort of like that type A photographer that in a way they'll go into a wedding, they have everything planned out, and it just kind of puts them at ease. And 99% of the time, nothing goes to plan, but at least having that plan in their head, it just helps them out. But I like the idea of just kind of showing up and just doing whatever. So, yeah.
Which is totally what my approach was. When I first started, I hate it. Like, I don't scout, I don't do any of that stuff. I did at the beginning. Yeah, I started at the beginning because somebody told me you should.
Yeah. And then, same thing. Again, trying to be like everybody else, right? Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, one day I was like, oh my God, the light's going to be fantastic. And the following day it was like freaking thunderstorms and everything that I scouted was like gone. So then from then on, I was like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that. So every time that I came in, it was like a white canvas, clean slate, start over, and then just, work during the day. So that's good. That's cool.
Yeah.
Like, from everything that you've bought, we all kind of get that, gear acquisition syndrome that we just want everything. I've seen your bag, and you want the Ghost Edition Leica. I mean, it's one
such
of those
a loser.
Well, I was like, when it comes to Leicas, I think the M6 was the last true Leica camera, but
Yeah, we can have a 2-hour argument as to why it's wrong, but okay.
I know, but I don't care. I don't care. So like with the gear that you have, is there something that you were like, why did I buy this?
Oh, yeah. I think that at the beginning of my career, I think, again, trying to be like what everybody else was doing. I think it was one of those things where being like I wanted to be like everybody else, I thought that I needed to shoot with like zoom lenses. So I got a kit of a 24-70 and a 70-200. And when I shot that combo, I was again trying to kind of be like everybody else. I wanted to shoot like everybody else, and with that combo, I just feel like there was nothing really special behind it. I'm very much somebody that likes to shoot wide open. I love to shoot like 1.2 throughout almost the entire day. Even when I'm using off-camera flash, I think it gives off a really cool look. And when I shot at the beginning of my career with a 24-70 and a 7200, there was just really no essence behind the stuff that I was doing. I wasn't really working too much to compose my images. I wasn't really working too hard. It was because I'm zooming in and out. So I almost became a little bit lazier, and I became a little bit less creative when it came to everything. So I would say like probably my one thing that I regret sort of buying is a 24-70. There was one Canon version, I think is the version 1, that was like the softest lens in the world. And I just bought it because somebody told me that a 24-70 was an absolute must for wedding photography. And I used it for like a wedding season. I was like, I just hate this lens so much. And I ended up selling it. So I would say that's probably
Yeah, I mean, yeah, okay. 24-70 it's a lazy lens for me.
Yeah, right? Like you just kind of feel like if I'm standing here, if I'm shooting with a 50, I want to take a portrait of somebody, like I have to like actually step back, step forward if I want to get my composition. But the 24-70, all you're doing is just turning a ring. And when that specific lens I had was so soft, and it didn't create anything special. I'm very much, as a Leica shooter, I very much believe in something called like micro contrast. I believe in things that like when you have a good quality lens, I feel like you can see the difference between something that's a high quality lens and something that just kind of shitty. And that lens was very shitty.
Yeah. Just knocked my elbow.
I saw that.
Ow. Okay. Well, that's definitely. Do you have? And this is another question that I get all the time, and it's such a hard question because, for the most part, you have photographers that think that just because you took this image at these settings, then at any time it's gonna work. And it's pretty rare unless you have like the Sunny 16 rule or something like that. Which we can discuss later when we go street photography. And stuff. But for the most part, a lot of people are like, what's your favorite setting? Like, what is it? So, what's your favorite setting?
That's a weird question because, especially when I have my workshops, I always like to give somebody some sort of base on how I start. But I like to go in it with the idea that I'm going to communicate a base setting, but I'm going to tell them that you're going to have to experiment with that base setting. I know that there's a lot of people, a lot of educators that don't give out settings. They say, well, you know what, there's too many variables happening at a scene
which
for me to give you. And that's a valid argument.
Yeah.
I do think that when you have somebody that comes into a workshop, they want some sort of direction. I always tell people that I'm going to give you very specific settings on how I start everything. Okay. And then based on the variables, you're going to adjust depending on that. And then we kind of discuss why we change the settings based on the kind of look that we're trying to get. So that's definitely something that I think is important as an educator. I like to make sure that I communicate that, but with the caveat that you're still making sure that you communicate to people that just because I'm giving you these settings, you're not going to get the same results every single time.
Yeah. Cool. So, with that said, I mean, do you do a lot of post-processing? Like, what is kind of like your workflow?
No, I don't actually. I apply my preset, and I'm not knowledgeable enough in like Photoshop or any sort of post-processing to even like be able to like
it's all over the place.
To like even be able to can we step on it real quick?
So for the people that don't know, I was like, we have an assistant out on the side, coming over here, and things didn't quite pan out with some of the stainless steel cubes that we put on the thing. So all we hear is like clink 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 on the side. So we're rectifying that. But
I forgot what we were talking about. What did you ask me?
About like post-processing.
Oh yeah, I don't do too much post-processing. I mean, I have a preset that I offer to any of my subscribers on Instagram. So if they sign up for subscribe
for your OnlyFans,
yes, my OnlyFans on Instagram. Yeah.
Okay.
So once they subscribe, they get my preset. I call it a beta preset because I'm very much not ready to bring it out for sale. But it is something that I just use as a base. Again, it's something that I import with the preset, but I don't do much adjustments. I mean, I'm not doing any like intensive like photoshopping or like skin retouching or anything like that. 99.999%.
Like color select, like red flowers.
Yes.
Stuff like
I mean,
that.
again, that was like 6-7 years ago I was doing that stuff.
6-7.
Yeah. I've been doing this for 10 years, and the first like 4 or 5 years of my life.
I've been doing this for like well over 15 years, and that was like in the early 2000s.
Oh, dude, you'd be surprised when you're in that price range where you're like first starting off. People are gonna ask for that.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, no, and it is a thing, but so okay, so like with you, do you have? I mean, what do you use? And this is like a shameless plug with some of our friends. We actually did a workshop, a quick little photo walk yesterday, and we had Aftershoot, which you use Aftershoot.
Yep, love Aftershoot.
And then you host everything on CloudSpot, right?
Yes, yeah, that is my gallery host of choice. They're amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So with Aftershoot, and we're gonna talk for a little bit, and then we're gonna get back into stuff because I don't want this to be. By the way, they're not sponsoring this. Lalo's not sponsoring any of this. But if you guys want to, come talk about tequila one day. GEEKOTO is gonna be all in the background, but we're off for it. But anyways, no. But like, so with Aftershoot, like, how do you use Aftershoot? What's Aftershoot for and such?
So right now, it is a AI culling, so artificial intelligence culling. So you just throw your images into it. I will, on average, shoot maybe 4,000 to 5,000 images per wedding. I'll throw them in there, and then what it'll do is it'll look through about, I think it was like 15 different parameters in the image. The AI will look at that, and it'll select the best images. So it'll cull down to, on average, about 1,500 images. And I'll just go back into it and just cull that down a little bit more. And then I'll have my finalized images. And now they have this new service called Aftershoot Edits. So I'll just take those images and I'll throw them into Aftershoot Edits. And I've created a profile based on the preset that I use. And once I throw the images in it, it'll automatically correct white balance, and it'll apply my profile into the images. So I can have a wedding
so you're
cheating. Edit in a couple. Essentially, yeah. I'm getting back time that I've given to the photography, my photography career in the last couple of years. So, but it's a great service. They're pretty awesome.
Awesome. So, cool. Yeah, I got out of the game, so I'm semi-retired. I don't shoot as much as I used to. A few weddings that
Lucky
I do
you.
are well,
Do you miss
the
it?
other side. I do. Like I do, just because of the I had amazing clients, and I really miss that aspect of it because I have great friends. We became great friends, with pretty much all of them. So that aspect I like, but then now it's kind of one of those things where like there's such talented people like yourself and so many ones out there that I'm kind of like, do we really need another old fogey out there taking?
We do.
Yeah. Taking that from. But all right. So another. Let's move on because we have a lot of questions. To go through.
17 pages, right?
Yeah, some like that. But all right, salute. Because come on, man.
I told you, I'm like already feeling like I'm gonna be.
Well, yeah, but we've got to please our audience here. But by the way, Sean said hello, Daddy. So, but
is that for you or for me?
I don't know. I think it was for me, but So, Sean, what's up? We're gonna get you in here.
I love Sean.
Pretty soon. The guy, for you guys that don't know, this is Sean Lara, another one of the GEEKOTO ambassadors.
Yeah.
So go check his stuff out and stuff like that. Noel del Pilar, from Puerto Rico. So great to have. Hey, so Gavin just said he just signed on to your OnlyFans.
Yes.
So
he's gonna be on my presets and 3 random foot photos.
There you go.
Yes.
So good old Gavin.
I don't cut my toenails either.
He was. Okay. All right. Cool. So, all right, man. All right. So let's keep on going on this because you are a super lightweight. You need to catch up.
I'm probably already drunk.
Catch up. So. Oh, hey, so Sean said that daddy was intended for me, so suck it.
Yeah, no, I would not. I'm very okay with that, John.
So, but, all right, so let's start getting do you have from your career? You said you've been shooting this for a decade,
I have.
So you're not a young buck anymore. But out of all the amazing work that you have done and stuff like that, do you have an image that you can say, oh, I love this image? And if there is, I mean, why?
I guess there's a lot of different images that I absolutely love. There are a few that are a combination of sort of like luck and moments. I love the real non-posed moments. I love creating really compositionally sound images without having too much or if any control of where like my subject is. I sent you this photo here of the
So you want to hold this one up?
Yeah,
I'll hold it, but then if the camera kind of
just a ceremony image. I absolutely love that photo. I love composition. Once we get into the whole street photography thing, I think people see that there's a connection there between composition and me being able to create these images without really having too much say in what's going on. So again, ceremony images are a big part of it. I love that there's storytelling behind the image, like the groom seeing the bride for the first time. And then obviously the post process and all that is something that I absolutely love too. But yeah, I think any image that combines a good composition with an emotional storytelling aspect of it, I think that's sort of more like a complete image. I see a lot of images that are really well composed, but there's really very little essence behind them. Yeah. You just kind of look at them and go, okay, well, that's a really pretty image to look at, but what exactly am I looking at here? Is there any sort of storytelling behind it? And I think there's a lot to be said when it comes to being able to create something that has a mixture of everything in it.
So with, for example, like that image that you used in, we had to go old fashioned with, showing it on, just like that, our high tech.
It's printed on an HP printer.
Not even, dude. Oh yeah, it is an HP. Yeah, you're right.
I'm sure it is.
Oh, it is an HP.
It's a beautiful
printer.
print.
So
HP sponsor this podcast.
We're such good friends with such amazing printers or whatever, and I was like, here's my HP printer, bro. Yeah. But it was the last minute thing because you didn't send me the.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah. So, anyways, so when for example, like with that image, did you? I mean, obviously you thought about it first. Were you trying to catch just like that specific one where you wanted to, see the I'm assuming that's her father, walking her down the aisle and stuff. Like what was like, which I absolutely love. I mean, I love images like these, just because they're such a powerful image. It's literally and it probably gonna get choked up. Like I have a daughter and I do not want this day to come. It's like
most people are like, and when this day comes, where you're just like, no, this day is not coming.
No, it's like these are like the last 30 yards that she's gonna be like my little girl, and I'm like, so to me, they've always been really just kind of like an emotional image, something. And this, which is beautiful, especially like what I love about it is the fact, like the red carpet that just
I think that's what really makes
to
it.
Yeah,
I think
so with that shot, we're like. Did you just be like, this is exactly where I want to be at when this happens? Or was it just kind of like a last minute call type thing?
So this is done at a Greek Orthodox church. Okay. It's a beautiful church. And they do have like a balcony that you can get up there. So I always like to get a lower shot of the bride walking down the aisle with her father, whoever's walking her down. Like that's just sort of like the shot that I like to get, more of a creative ceremony shot. But with this particular wedding, I went up there and I'm like, you know what? I think I'm going to try to get a higher angle, because I think when you do get a higher angle, I think there is more storytelling behind it, because I like to make sure that an image like this, that you're kind of like zooming in and trying to like look at people's faces. Like, what are they doing? Like, what's happening at the moment? Obviously, this is the first time that the groom saw the bride walking down the aisle. So you can see people's reaction. One of the other images that I absolutely love is what somebody told me once before, is that everyone's got their eye on the bride. And then if you're up at the altar, if you're a wedding photographer, just a life pro tip, look at the grooms or the other person up at the altar, their family, their parents, and usually they're looking at him
which is
or
great
the other
advice.
person. So
Yeah.
so it's another angle that you can probably get. But this particular one, again, you're creating an image like this, which is a moment that you're not creating yourself, but you're just kind of capturing in a way that it's just going to kind of pull at people's strings because you can kind of put yourself in their shoes, like sort of like what you just told about your daughter, because eventually people will go through that stuff, so it'll play an emotional aspect into it. So
Yeah, which is it just kind of draws you in. So
yeah.
Cool. So we have another shot here, which is another one that you sent / texted / here you go type thing, which is this one. Let me see. Hopefully that camera stops acting up. Which I absolutely love this one. I love this shot. But
Lightsaber.
that's right. That is. So one of the things with that image is, I mean, technically it's a portrait, of it. But dude, like, was there a moment, like, did you ask the couple to do this? Was it something kind of spontaneous? Like what?
This is just essentially just them at the reception, and I just said, "Hey, do you want to go outside? I have an idea of something." And this is inspired by Sam Hurd. Sam Hurd was somebody that
great
I
photographer.
absolutely loved.
You guys, absolutely.
Yeah, he did a similar shot like this, and then I just kind of took and sort of made it my own. I put my own spin on it, but he was somebody that was very inspirational. I think when I started to realize that I did want to do things differently than everybody else, he was somebody that I looked at because his work was always kind of looked like unique in a way. Like there was just something different about
what he does.
And I really liked that approach. So, but yeah, this was something where we just went outside and I said, "Hey, can I just borrow you for 2 minutes?" We went outside and we got that. It was super quick. I also like to do that with the LS100, the GEEKOTO LS100, where I put it behind them, and then I'll just put it in the strobe mode where it just goes different colors, and I'll do a burst of images, and I'll create a GIF out of it where like
which is funny because you're one of the very few photographers who takes like full advantage of GIFs. I'm too old and GIFs were just coming in as I was kind of getting out and stuff like that, so I never did, but I think it's a genius idea because you just bring that extra little, movement, little extra that when you look at it, especially like when you're on Instagram or when you're, just a regular post and you think you're looking at an image and it starts moving, you're like, what the hell? So it kind of draws you in, which is awesome.
It's a cool concept. And also like yesterday when we did the meetup here, I was showing everybody that you can actually put GIFs into your Clatspot gallery. So I showed an entire wedding where it has a bunch of GIFs included into the gallery. So it just, again, it gives a little bit of an extra touch to the galleries, and it just makes more of an impact when people open up their galleries as clients. So,
So, do you have someone that just really kind of, you mentioned Sam a minute ago, Sam Hurd. Do you have somebody that kind of like influenced, your work? Or are you now, just on that diva status where it's like, oh, I do everything. I'm the influencer now.
No, I would never publicly admit to that.
I was like, key thing here is publicly because, in private, we've, there's been so many times, all the shit you talk about people. Wait, not totally.
Wow.
No, totally not true. But is there somebody that you can say that kind of influenced your influenced you in your work?
I think there's a lot of people. I think the community and as a whole has influenced me and has really pushed me to become not only a better photographer but a better educator. Somebody that I very much have always loved the community aspect of what I do. As far as wedding photographers, there's 2 wedding photographers that have really, really pushed me to become a better wedding photographer, and those are well, spoiler alert. I think that when I first started, I discovered Christian Cardona, who's also a GEEKOTO ambassador. He shoots very differently than I do, but it always just super inspiring to see like how he sees things. Especially when it comes to colors. I think when it comes to colors, he's just an incredible person, especially when it comes to color mixture, which is something that takes a lot to be able to do that and to make it look good. There's something to do with colors. When you're adding colors to an image, a lot of people do it, but it doesn't make sense. And he does it, and everything flows very well.
Yeah, and his colors are incredible. You know, some of the they pop. I mean, they're so. Yeah, it's some of the time, you know, and some of the things, and it's post processing. You know, I don't know if you've ever seen or if you've ever, you know, well, yeah, I mean,
I went to his workshop.
And you've gone to a couple of workshops as well.
Yeah.
And it just like his post processing and his thought, you know, he's so methodical in the stuff that he does on, you know, from shooting and how he's going to edit and how everything is just, you know, he has this method to everything, which is cool. So you said there was two. And
so I love his stuff. And just to kind of add to what Christian is, not only is he an incredible photographer, but I don't think he realizes how amazing he is.
As a person.
Yeah,
he's an amazing human.
Yeah, and I don't think he realizes how humble he is. And he'll talk to you like he would talk to anybody else. Just a super respectful person. He doesn't strike you as cocky or as like,
because he's not like,
it's just
like, did you like the whole thing that he did during the pandemic, you know, where he reached out to a lot of us. Were you part of that?
No.
So he reached out to a lot of us, and he put together kind of like this online kind of school type thing where, you know, we all just, you know, gave a little bit
I remember him
what
doing
it was.
That,
You know, he charged a very minimal fee, whatever. But with everything that they got from that, they bought baskets of food for people. In Colombia.
Yeah, he talked about it during his workshop.
I mean, it's insane. Absolutely, some of the stuff that he does is just like, again, he's a great human. Like,
and I think that's the more inspiring thing. Is that not only is he one of the best, he's also an incredible human, which is, I think, more important. So, and then the second person, which is something that I've tried to learn in the last couple of years, is with direct light, and that is, why am I blanking on his name?
I don't know.
Portuguese, Spanish photographer. Victor Lax.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Victor Lax. He's
how
always
did I know you were going to say Victor? Yeah.
Yeah, he's just amazing with natural light and just harsh light. And I'm actually going to be going to his workshop in December. So
that's going to be in Florida,
Miami,
right?
Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah.
And I don't know him personally, but he's definitely somebody I look up to as far as his light usage.
Yeah. Victor is also, and he's a great educator as well. I'm lucky enough that, you know, all the people that you've thrown out, I've you know, known them personally and you know, for years. So that's awesome. That's great. Yeah, those are definitely great people to you know, to look up to, for sure. Okay, so this one's something, and again, this one, and guys, here in a minute, I'm gonna open it up. So if you guys want to ask some questions, you know, please feel free. We're getting him liquored up, so he's really kind of soft, you know.
Yeah, because we don't have 1,700 questions in front of us.
Yeah, exactly. So, but one of the things, for example, like when you're taking a photo, do you have like a reason behind the image, or is it just kind of like spontaneous, like right off? Well, here, this, you know, I'm just gonna take it here because I like this, and boom. Or is there, again, like,
I think it's
method?
a mixture of both. I think, especially during a wedding when there's so many things happening, I think there are certain images that you take that you don't realize just how powerful they are up until after the fact. When you take especially candid images, I feel like when you go out and you're in front of the computer, you don't realize just the impact that they'll have if you see the people in them and how they will react to seeing the image. And then you also have the ones that are sort of pre-planned, which is like the ones that I use with like off-camera flash, where I see an opportunity to create something different. Then I'll just go out and I'll probably set something up. I'm not somebody that spends like 15, 20 minutes on a single image. I think that I don't personally like that approach. I'm very much somebody that is going to spend 30 seconds at a minute on an image, especially even if I'm using off-camera flash. If I'm creating an image and it's not really doing what's going to happen, I'm just going to move along. I'm not somebody that's going to push it for too long. But yeah, no, I mean, I think it's a little bit of mixture of both, of being a little bit more methodical about the way that you approach certain images, especially if you have it planned in your head, and also trying to be more spontaneous and trying to just kind of capture things as they're happening in front of you. So
cool. All right. Let's switch things up a little bit. and then
I'm really starting to feel it right now. So I feel like the switch is probably not a good thing for me.
Oh, we're switching it up now.
Yeah.
That's definitely what
I'm not going to have to take my shoes off, right?
So, no, it's fine. We're in an enclosed room. So, we've known each other for a while, but, that's...
Because it's going to stink up this whole studio.
Yeah, let's not do that. Let's definitely not do that. So outside, talking outside of like, photography, I was like, do you collect anything? Like, do you have like...
I collect tears.
Of your enemies?
No,
is that
just mine. Yeah,
your own
my own tears. Yeah. I don't really have anything that I have like a strong love for as far as like a collection of like things. I mean, I used to collect like video game special editions. Like I was very into video games, which is something else that we connected with. I used to be like that person that would like stand outside of Best Buy and like wait until they opened to buy like the limited edition Metal Gear Solid or something that. And I just had a huge collection of like all the special edition video games. Because again, I'm sort of a geek at heart. Even though I don't have as much time to kind of enjoy them as I did before. Yeah. But yeah, like limited edition, special edition stuff.
What watch are you wearing?
Huh?
What watch are you wearing?
Oh God, I'm wearing an Apple Watch. Yeah. I like that.
Weren't you like anti-Apple?
I was anti-Apple Watch. I do not like Apple Watches. I do own the new Ultra because it's a little bit bigger, and I think there is something good about it where like I can work out and I can track all this stuff. I love watches too.
I didn't even wear mine because you were making fun of me yesterday.
You have a Fitbit. You should be ashamed of yourself.
I do. I have tiny wrists, man. I can't.
Oh,
wear
have
that
you seen my wrist? I have a 6.5-inch wrist. That's like almost the smallest you can get. Like anything smaller than that, I'm basically a toddler.
Yeah, I don't know. I think mine are about there, or maybe I do have a toddler wrist. I don't know.
Yeah.
So
that's. But no, I do love watches. I love mechanical watches. I have a few.
Are you like Sean Lara level on that though? Because I was like, you guys are pretty
We appreciate watches when we go to Vegas. Like last year when we were in Vegas, we took a bromance trip
I remember that.
to the Omega store, and we both wore our Omega watches, and we took a picture in front of the Omega store.
God. Yeah, that's He called me a couple of months ago, and he was like, "Hey, dude, so who was it? Omega or somebody else? Like they were making like these planet."
The Swatch, the Omega Swatch.
Yeah, the Omega Swatch, whatever.
Yeah.
And he wanted me to get like Uranus or something. I don't know.
My anus?
Yeah. And I was like, I was out of town at the time, but I called one of my buddies, and he was like, "Yeah, I'll go check." But they apparently they flew
went
off
nuts.
the shelf.
Yeah,
like,
it was nuts. Like people were going crazy over them, and they're. I mean, I'm a sort of an old school Omega person. Like I don't like the whole collaboration thing. What'd you say?
So Sean said, he's like, they want an Apple Watch? He's like, you dead to me.
Yeah, I figured. I don't like to tell anybody, but now I feel like that now that this is being broadcasted, now it's kind of embarrassing now.
Jared Bocanegra called you out too. He said, he goes, watches, you collect watches. So
yeah, listen, watches are great. I don't like to call them an investment, but there is something to be said about buying a really good watch and then over time leaving it off to your kids. I'm not talking about like a Movado, like anything that you like. These are like I'm talking about like really good mechanical pieces.
What's wrong with Movado?
Well, I mean, like Movado is like the one that everybody always thinks of that is a really good watch, and it's actually not a good watch. It's actually pretty cheap.
I mean, I don't know the Movado.
I know somebody that owns a Movado, and it's I'm not a huge fan of it. So
I have one. Movado.
I have a Movado, and I like my Movados. But I'm a big fan of the Omega brand.
Okay.
Omega, yeah.
Okay. I was like, well, my Fitbit's pretty good.
Fitbit. Definitely do not get a Fitbit. I feel like I'm going to get beat up after this, especially since I'm talking crap about Movado and Fitbit. Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
I was like, they're owned by Google now, so.
Fitbit?
Yeah.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Hey.
Just saying. I was like, if your website all of a sudden just disappears, you know why?
I do own a Movado. I don't own a Fitbit. My mother owns a Fitbit or owned a Fitbit.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. You mentioned that yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so, do you have any like outside of like not collecting anything? Like, do you have any hobbies? Like what's something that you?
Yeah, like the watch thing is definitely something that I enjoy a lot. Again, the Leica thing is something else that I not only collect but I also utilize a lot. I feel like it all kind of goes hand in hand. I love I feel like whenever somebody gets into watches and they're a photographer, they kind of have to get into Leica. And they also, there's like a trio of like being like the most basic bitch ever. You have a watch collection, you shoot Leica, and then you also have to drive a Porsche, which I don't have a Porsche, but
you just bought a Mercedes, right?
I did, yeah. Yeah, I have a C43 AMG. Yeah. But the Porsche is like the trio of like being as basic as you could possibly get. But I do love my car. It is a fun car to drive, so.
No, it's a great car.
Yeah.
It's a great car. And that's something that we're going to be talking about later too. So.
We're like 40 minutes into this thing.
We are 56 minutes in.
No way. Are we really? Yeah. Wow, you've asked me like 2 questions.
Yeah, exactly. I know. That's why everybody online is like, what the hell? Like, move on. All right, so what's like the most ridiculous nightmare you've ever had?
Oh my God. Ridiculous nightmare? Oh man, can we go back to this one afterwards? I feel like I'm not one of those like vivid dream people. I'm not somebody that very vividly remembers their dreams. I do. So obviously to get a little bit personal, I went through a phase where I actually had sleep paralysis. I don't know if you've ever heard of sleep paralysis. Where I was having it like 3 to 4 to 5 times a week. And that is one of the worst things that I have ever gone through.
Holy crap,
It was terrifying, and I didn't know what was going on. I didn't realize what was happening.
Would like demons coming out of your like bed or like?
I don't know why. I just thought you were gonna say something else, but yeah,
with dicks were coming out of your head. There were demons coming out of your
yes,
out of your bed.
So I'm sure people can relate to like what's happening. Like I would wake up in the middle of the night, I couldn't move, and then I would see like a demon in like front of my face, like on top of me. Once I have them, like I still have them they're very far apart. But like I'll wake up and I'll see rats all over the room, but I know what's happening. So I just kind of don't really bother anymore. But I did. I mean, I went through a point in my life where I was having them like 4 to 5 times a week, and it was horrible.
Holy smokes!
Like demon in the corner of the room, like walking towards me, couldn't move, on top of me, couldn't move.
Do you think because there's a documentary about this.
Oh really?
I can't remember what it's like. Oh my God, I can't remember what it's called. Maybe the mouse over here can look it up for us and see if we find it. But if like when we're talking about the since we're talking about this, in the documentary they mention about some people think that's it's a dream of sleep paralysis like you were saying, but some other people think it's just like a haunting, like it's a like legit like. We were because I told you this place it's haunted. You're like, I don't believe in ghosts, and stuff. So, like, do you think that it has something to do with that, or do you think it's just more like subconscious type thing?
No,
like
I think
dream,
I think it's just my brain basically just kind of messing with me. I very much think that that's what it is. I think that it definitely does come from a lot of stress levels from what I was told from doctor.
So do you don't believe in like supernatural stuff?
No, I never have. I don't know how many people I'm going to offend here, but like I'm very open about being an atheist. I'm not somebody that believes in like ghosts or like witches or anything like that.
Yeah, but ghosts doesn't really have to do anything with religion. So when you say atheist,
I think there's definitely some sort of a connection there with. You think like you have like purgatory, you have like hell, you have heaven, you have like the afterlife, like all that stuff. And
like when it comes to ghosts, I personally like again, and like I don't relate ghosts or anything like that with anything that's religious. Right. Now, like I told you, like when it's a ghost, I'm like, oh, I'm okay with ghosts. But as soon as you talk like demons, I'm like, oh, I'm done.
Yeah,
like I'm done.
There's just something about that word, right?
Yeah, there's just something that is like, oh, I'm not messing with that. But when it comes to like ghosts and stuff like that, you know. And I don't know if I believe. Like I can't see. Like I really don't know when it comes, you know, to something like that. My wife says that she definitely believes. She lived in a haunted house, you know, when she was in college and stuff like that. Nothing major, in my opinion, has ever happened to me, so I couldn't base it off of anything except, you know, cameras being turned on in the middle of the night. And right now we're live, and my camera keeps acting up.
Yeah, it's definitely.
See that? Look at that.
That's definitely a ghost.
Yeah. So I like really.
Do you want to know why that's happening?
Because the camera doesn't like me.
Because it's a Sony.
That's true. That is true. That is
if
true.
you had a Canon in there, then it would be a different story.
Yeah,
It'd be working
and
perfectly.
way to call us out on that.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but yeah, no. But again, you know, but I don't know. I don't know how to explain, you know, stuff like that. I mean, do I believe? I don't know. I don't know if I genuinely believe in anything like that. Do you believe in UFOs?
I do. Yeah, I do. I think that just as a whole, I think that our world or the Earth is just such a minuscule aspect.
So you do believe like little green men that come?
I don't know about little green men, but there's definitely something out there.
No, absolutely. That, I think it would be pretty ignorant, you know, to be like, oh, we are the only ones out there. I mean, yeah. Do I believe of, you know, like spaceships and stuff like that? I don't know. I think that kind of falls to me in the same category as like ghosts and stuff like that. I don't know. I don't know. It's kind of like one of those toss-ups for me where it's like, I think I need like concrete evidence, you know, and then by the time I get concrete evidence, it's gonna be too late.
Yeah, no, I kind of agree. I definitely don't think that I definitely think that there's something out there. I don't know that I believe that, like the conspiracy theories of like the government and stuff. Like I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't really.
Yeah, that's kind of. Yeah. All right, cool. So like, do you have a useless talent? I'm just random in
useless talent.
Yeah.
So photography is actually pretty good. My street photography is pretty useless.
Yeah.
No, I don't think I do. I have a hitchhiker's thumb. Do you know what a hitchhiker's thumb is?
Yeah. Let me see. Ew.
That's kind of a hitchhiker's thumb, but you have to like really get the U going here. Like if you like see how it like points down, that is a hitchhiker's thumb. So like even if you like go like that, like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So whenever I show people, they're just like, that's disgusting. But yes.
That is kind of gross.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my useless talent.
Yeah. So, all right, going back, you said like photography, street photography was pretty useless. Yeah. Let's get back into it because I'm a big fan of like do you have like a favorite street photographer? And I know which one you're gonna say because you sent me the image.
Yeah.
Again, too late for us to put it online, but you know we have our high tech HP printing here of what it is.
I mean, it's like this is like 50 pixels by 40 pixels,
something like that.
Fan Ho is probably one of my favorite street photographers.
And I'm really upset with you because I actually have the limited edition books of his, and I could have actually brought these instead of you know showing. But this is probably, I know it's one of my I know it's your favorite.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite image
of images. And if you guys don't know about Fan Ho or seen you know much of his work, please, it's somebody that you need to.
Incredible.
And this was he started photographing Hong Kong in the 1950s, right?
Yeah, 1950s.
50s.
A lot of black and white. And again, just something that resonated with me is just a lot of usage of harsh light, a lot of usage of line composition with some storytelling put into it. So,
which is crazy is the majority of his images are just silhouettes.
Yeah,
and and the story and everything that it talks about, you know, just without nothing. It's just one frame, and you have these amazing just, you know, structures and architectural visions of what Hong Kong was, you know, at that time. And it's pretty awesome. So.
It's amazing. And even with like when it comes to silhouettes, as a wedding photographer, we tend to overdo silhouettes.
Yeah.
Like silhouettes there's a couple of things that happen in the wedding photography industry is that silhouettes are overdone, and then like how many times have I seen somebody shaking a champagne bottle with like 2 lights pointed at them, and you post that and it gets like 1,000 likes, and I'm like, come on, like. How many more times am I gonna have to see this shot?
Yeah, okay, so let's talk a little bit about that.
Okay.
We'll come back to street photography, but do you think? And I will, obviously I'm gonna answer this truthfully, but do you think that the internet and the access and has made incredibly vain photographers, just people that
With me being one of them.
No, but what I'm talking about is people which totally we all. I mean, I'm self-taught. I know you yourself. You were talking about that, and the majority of us are. But you have people that get a camera in December, and by January, they're like, oh, and then they posted a couple of images online, and all of a sudden, all of their friends, are saying how good you are. Do you think that helps? A photographer, or does that hinder their talent, their way of, or them, expanding, or because does it give them like a false sense of security, you think?
I think it's a really tough question to answer. I think I'm definitely not the photographer that is like always mad that there's new photographers coming out. I love the idea of photography being more accessible, because that's why I got into it. I would have never had the means to go out and buy a camera if my mother didn't go out and like basically use her life savings to buy me a Rebel T3i.
Yeah.
So I love the accessibility of photography. I love the community, and I love the idea of helping newer photographers get into it. With that being said, I do think that there's definitely something, there's an argument to be said about kind of paying your dues and really going along with doing the things that you're supposed to do in order to get to a point where you're more of an established photographer. But I do think that I would never. I personally love that there's photographers that are 22, 23 years old, sometimes like 18 years old, and then they buy a camera and they're so fucking talented. Like they're so good, and you look at their work and you're like, even like my Facebook group in Steel and Flint, there was just a post a couple of days ago where somebody was like, oh, this is my first wedding that I've ever shot. And I look at the photos and I'm like, are you kidding me? Like these photos are incredible. Yeah. And then I posted my like 3rd wedding, and they were like so shitty.
Yeah.
But then it's like, again, like I love that. I love that the community is getting even better, because it makes me want to get better.
Exactly. So. Yeah. And I'm on the same page when it comes to that. I think in a way it's done wonders for the community, for the photo community. And the fact, again, that there's so much information out there that people and kids are getting, just are expanding their knowledge of photography and their talents at like an incredible rate.
Yeah. 10 years ago when I started my photography business, all I wanted to do was just second shoot and assist somebody. And I reached out to the best, what I thought were the best in my area. And I was like maybe like 9 or 10 different photographers. And I sent them the same email. I said, hey, listen, my name's Esteban. I'm trying to become a wedding photographer. I just want to, you don't even have to pay me. Like, I just want to work with you. I just want to see what it's like to be a wedding photographer. And not a single one of them responded to me. So when I saw that there are people out there that are trying to build a wall around them because they do look at other people as competition. And I told myself that if I ever had the opportunity to help others and become a better photographer or come out and shoot with me, that I would do that. And that's where I built Steel and Flint, where I just said, you know what? I want to make sure that people know that there are photographers out there that are willing to help newer photographers out. And I think when you start complaining about newer photographers, it's not going to do anything good. All it's going to do is just downplay the industry. And what it'll do is, instead of doing that, then you might as well just go out and help them out. And that's why I kind of built Steel and Flint. So yeah, I think the community is definitely super important.
Yeah, and I think what was when I was again, I'm old and I've shot for a while, but I remember when like Joey Lawrence came out, where he, in my opinion, are you familiar with his work?
No, I have no idea with this.
So Joey Lawrence he started super young, but he was one of those self-taught photographers who basically just learned off of YouTube, and this is 10 years ago. This is probably around the time that you started.
Yeah.
And he was just making, and his post production was phenomenal. And he's not a wedding photographer or anything. He does a lot of portraiture.
Okay.
Right now, he does. As a matter of fact, I've lost a little bit of track of stuff, but I mean, he just went, ape shit on the industry. He just rose like a rocket. Still does fantastic work the last time that I saw anything. But he was one of those that super talented, that was self-taught, that learned online, that just picked up the camera, and just started just pushing the envelope of what digital photography could be, which was great. And then you have the other side of the coin, where you have individuals who will post an image, and instead of people being truthful, they're like, oh my God, you're so amazing, you're this. And in my opinion, it kind of hinders them. And instead of kind of pushing, they're like, oh, well, I'm so good off the bat that I see them, they've been posting this for 4 years and they haven't grown as a photographer. They keep doing the same thing over and over because they get so much praise, from friends and from family and stuff like that, where it just kind of.
Yeah, and not even that, but I think that to add to that, I think one of the most important things that you have to go through as a wedding photographer and as a business owner is some unhappy clients. I think that's one of the best learning experiences that you can have. And one of my favorite quotes of all time, one of my favorite business quotes by Bill Gates, and it's, your most unhappy clients are your greatest source of learning.
Yeah,
and
that's a great one,
and to me, I can have my 99% of my clients pat me on the back and think that I'm the best in the world, but that one client that is not satisfied with a certain aspect of my business or something that I'm doing, that's where I'm going to learn the most. Because if I go out and I constantly get patted on the back, it's going to give me that false sense of accomplishment.
Yeah.
Even though maybe they do love their work, but sometimes we need a little bit of a
tough love.
Yeah, like we need somebody to tell us that, hey, listen, you're doing great, but you could be doing this better.
Yeah, absolutely.
And sometimes if that's a client, somebody that's giving you money, somebody that's entrusting you with their most important part of their lives at that point, then that's when it really gets real. Like that's when shit gets real, and you go, all right, well, now I need to really face this head on and try to work my way through the situation. And that's real growth there. Yeah. Because you're not going to grow by people giving you a pat on the back, but you're definitely going to grow by trying to experience and navigate through an unhappy customer or client. So
cool. Yeah. All right, let's go back to street photography.
Okay.
In that aspect. So we talked about Fan Ho, obviously fantastic, photographer. Do you have another one? I asked for two.
I know this might be an easy answer, but Vivian Meyer was an awesome photographer. I love not only do I love the work, I think I always try to kind of balance things out. So Fan Ho is just more like compositionally based, a lot of shadows, a lot of contrast. And then Vivian was just more of more characters, like more like trying to tell a story through like portraiture. And I love
it. Okay, so do you love her imagery, or do you love her story?
I love her story.
Okay,
I love her story. I think it's amazing. I think it really tells a lot about who she was. She didn't really want to be a fame. She didn't really want to show her. It was until
way after her death that this kind of came along. And Vivian Meyer, if you guys haven't seen it, there's a documentary about the individual, which I can't recall his name.
Yeah,
who literally bought the lot of all of her negatives that were just in storage, right?
Yeah,
and he was the one that saw. The talent, started reaching out to you from universities to just professors and different people that were big in the industry. And they were like, who is this? But she never, I don't think she ever even printed any of that stuff. It was like just a bunch of rolls. She just did it because
she loved it.
Yeah, it was just a bunch of rolls that were.
Yeah, it was just a passion. It was just something that she went out every day and she just absolutely loved doing what she does and what she did. And to me, I love to relate to that because I always like to tell people, especially during my workshop, I tell people like, I just want to go to my weddings and I just want to create. Like, I just want to scratch that itch of just being creative and like being able to do like what my brain is telling me that I need to do. And I want to go home and I just want to do it again. Like I absolutely love picking up a camera. And I love the idea that she was so talented that she very clearly knew how talented
And
she
was
was.
a nanny.
Yeah.
Like she was a nanny. I mean, that was her 9 to 5, her full-time job. She was a full-time nanny.
Yep.
And a lot of these were, she took them during vacations or during the walks that she took the kids when she took them to like the park and stuff.
Something as simple as just like picking up a camera and just capturing your everyday life. And during the pandemic, I really got to see that where like with my kids, I have a 5-year-old Leo who's autistic, and it's just one of those things where it's like during the pandemic when I was spending basically 24 hours a day with my kids, I have an 11-year-old Landon. I told myself, I was like, I'm not capturing the things that are important to me because I'm just constantly picking up a camera to get paid for it.
Yeah.
And the fact that I just picked up a camera and I just wanted to document what it was like with Leo and with Landon and their interactions and just them being themselves. Like those are the things that really inspire me. And that has helped me become a much better wedding photographer. Just being able to pick up a camera and just document.
Yeah.
Like that just made me appreciate what I do so much more, and just made me such a better photographer because I just and to be able to look back at these images of what, like, and I haven't shown a lot of them, I have thousands of them, of just Leo being himself and developing himself as an autistic child, and the way that Landon connected with him. And like these are all images that are very, very deep and probably nobody will ever see. But they're very much something that I'm connected with as a parent. And I love that because I can relate to that from like Vivian Merrill. It's like, I just want to create because I have a passion for it, because I want to create, but at the same time I don't really feel the need to like go out and like show everybody
exactly
for like that.
So they're very, very personal.
They're super personal, and I'm sure 99.99% of people will never see those images, but they're very, very near and dear to my heart. So
here's one of the things. So I have several things, and my kids now just kind of, just they're like, okay, Dad, But I started this project called like Follow Me Daddy, and it's literally and it's literally me. Just every time that we take a trip or whatever, it's just me, with whatever it's in front of us, and my family, with my little girl or my boys. Sometimes all of them, and it's just all you see is my hand. Very typical. I actually ripped it off of an Instagram, couple that was called Follow Me, like Follow Me Too or something like that. And I'm not very creative, so I was like, I'm just gonna rip them off, but I'm gonna do it with my family.
That's not true, but okay.
And I started doing that, and again, it's something that I started just kind of for me. And the one thing that everybody tells me, like, well, you're not in the picture. I was like, no, but this is what I see. Like this is. It's not for anyone. Like, it's not a portrait. This is just me. Like, I want to remember this. Yeah. Because it's basically the view that I'm seeing with the most beautiful thing that I currently have, which is my family. Yeah. So I completely, sometimes you do things for you.
And you kind of have to.
Absolutely.
Because if you just constantly pick up a camera because you're going out to a wedding or you're going out to a shoot, I think that's going to get old very quickly. Yeah. I can actually go back to, like, if you were to ask me what my absolute favorite image that I've ever taken in my life, it's just a simple portrait of Leo looking into the camera. Because I know that being somebody that has seen him go through the process of being diagnosed with autism, and knowing that he didn't make eye contact for a very long time, and the fact that I was able to capture him looking at me and making eye contact, that was one of the biggest wins in the journey of Leo as an autistic child. And I love that image, and I'm getting choked up thinking about it. But it's one of those images where you just look at it and you just relate to it as a parent, and it was amazing. So it's definitely by far like one of my favorite things ever. That's just awesome. Going to that. Yeah.
Salud.
Cheers.
I'm
definitely getting drunk now.
Absolutely. It's good. So,
oh man.
All right, so
this tequila is really getting to me.
It's good though.
This is why you did this, huh? Absolutely. We couldn't just have a regular conversation.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. This is truth juice.
So, truth juice.
Yeah. Cool, man. So, like, I mean, there's so many things we've talked about. So many things, throughout, your career, stuff like that. If you were to say something. that you can, I was like, this is something that I'm very proud of, from your career, not your life, but your career as a photographer. Do you have a moment? Do you have or a couple of moments that you can say, I'm very proud of this because of X, whatever?
There's definitely a couple moments that stand out to me from the beginning of my career. I do specifically remember, like I guess you can, and most people can relate to this. Like you remember certain aspects of your life that you specifically remember very vividly about how you felt, like what you were wearing, like what happened. And one of those instances in my career was getting my first paycheck for a wedding. I just remember going in getting it in the mail, and it was a $500 paycheck. And I remember sitting in my kitchen being like completely broke and just being like, oh my God, like somebody's actually paying me to like photograph their wedding. And it's just, it was an incredible feeling, and I'll never forget that. And just, I remember looking at the check and being like like I charged $500 for this wedding. Like I basically was charging nothing.
Yeah.
And just the fact that somebody trusted me to say, like, listen, I'm going to exchange money, and I'm going to give you this money in exchange for you to capture one of the most important days of my life.
Yeah.
It was just incredible. And I just remember exactly how I felt. I remember being in my kitchen and just like being like, holy shit, like somebody's actually paying me to capture the wedding. That is by far one of the most incredible moments that I've had in my career. Obviously, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that has happened throughout my career that I'm very proud of. I think there's just the opening up a community that helps others. I think is definitely something that I'm super proud of. I think that's probably my biggest accomplishment as a
which is still in Flint.
Yeah. Just being able to know that there's, I don't know, like 10,000 people in there that are benefiting from.
So with still in Flint, let's talk a little bit about that, because it's something that's actually extremely impressive to have a community that's grown, substantially in a very short amount of time.
Yeah.
And I'm lucky enough that somehow, some way, I don't know how, I kind of crossed the border in there and ended up.
Well, should we talk about how I met you?
That's fine.
Do you remember how we met? We were at WPPI.
Yeah.
And I remember I was friends with you on Facebook. It was just one of those random friend requests that I think I might have sent you, and you accepted. And I always appreciated your honesty, and like, because I've always been sort of the same way where I'm just kind of upfront with people. Like if I feel a certain way, I'll let you know about it. I try not to be a jerk about things, but I definitely will I'll definitely make a point to let you know that maybe I disagree with something, or, and I saw you at WPPI in Vegas, and I came up to you and I was like, oh, I really appreciate everything. Even not to get like political, I think, but like the way that you are very open about your political views, about your values, and who you are as a person. So I came up to you and I was like, hey, like we're friends on Facebook, but like I really appreciate just how real you are on Facebook, and how you just and in a much raunchier way, like how you just don't give a shit.
Yeah.
And you're very open about like your views and your values and where you stand on certain aspects of things and arguments. And that's what really resonated with me, and I think that's where I think our paths ended up crossing a little bit more.
And then later on, we just all of a sudden, it was like we had so many things in common. You know? Like down to the shitty advanced auto part job. We're like, holy crap. But going back to still in Flint, one of the things with that I see constantly is the amount of respect. Compared to other photo groups that are in there, I've yet to come across, and maybe I'm not in there enough, but like yet to come across any like jerks, man. Most of the time when somebody posts something or whatever, everybody's relatively respectful. There's a few things, somebody will give, advice on, something, but not like some of the other ones, which is pretty impressive. It really genuinely is that everybody's so willing to share, so willing to kind of put themselves out there, and nowadays it's pretty rare because, you have all these individuals that just want to tear people down. And that's one of the very few groups that doesn't.
Well, and I appreciate you saying that, because it's something that I'm very proud of. And I've always told people that your community is just an extension of who you are as a person. And to me, I'm very much somebody where you just described as somebody that I'm open to help people out. I love the idea of having a community around me, and that reflects on the community that I've built. Obviously, there are other communities that aren't necessarily that way, and again, like I said, it's very much an extension of who you are as a leader in the community. And I'm very proud to say that Steel and Flint is very much something that where it doesn't matter who you are, it doesn't matter how experienced you are or how good you are. If you're there and you post and you ask questions, people are gonna help you. So I'm definitely very proud of the way that's turned out. So
no, it's and you should be. It's a really great community. You know, and it's a great group of people, and everybody who I've met that's been part of it has been, you know, pretty awesome.
yeah.
From everything, and I hear that constantly. So Sean says that you're turning red, so you can tell that you've been drinking. So.
Oh my God, I'm so drunk right now. I mean, this is like the most tequila I've ever had in my life.
We're halfway there.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
It's a damn mouse.
Yeah. So, come on. So, all right, guys. So we are getting to the point where I'm gonna open it up for some of you guys to ask a few questions. You know, depending on how many questions we get, I will try to, you know, ask as many as we can. I do have some more here, but I would rather have you guys, you know, hit them up with some of the stuff, and nothing is off limits.
Oh,
nothing
okay.
at all.
I wasn't told this. I didn't sign up for
So-
this. This wasn't in my contract.
I'm sorry, you know, that's what it is. I just so. Have you ever met a celebrity? And we talked about this before, but so that which is one of the reasons why I'm asking.
We talked about 2 celebrities last night.
Yeah.
We talked about Bernie Sanders.
Bernie Sanders.
I was in an airport. I was coming back from WPPI, and I fell asleep on a chair. And when I woke up, I opened my eyes, and it was Bernie Sanders eating a breakfast sandwich in front of me. And I think I described it as like, you know, like when you wake up and you kind of think you're still falling asleep. And I thought I was still dreaming, and I looked over to my left, and the guy that was sitting next to me, he just kind of looked at me and nodded at me like, yeah, you're not seeing things like that's actually Bernie Sanders. And I was like, what is going on right now? Like, this guy's just sitting here in front of me, and obviously, I mean, I went up to him and I talked to him.
Was he asleep? You said he was eating?
He was eating a breakfast sandwich. It was like 6 o'clock in the morning, and I think it was Philadelphia or something. And I just had like an overnight layover. I took a red eye from Vegas to after WPPI or something. And he just happened to be there. And it was the most bizarre thing ever. And I went up to him and I talked to him for like 30 seconds. And he was just as Bernie Sanders as you could possibly think. Like just an old grumpy dude that did not want to be bothered at 6 o'clock in the morning while he his breakfast sandwich. Yeah. And then like Steve Aoki in an elevator in St. Louis at Shutterfest.
It's just like the most random thing.
Yeah.
Steve, like two sides of the spectrum of people. Cool.
Yeah.
Like, do you have? Oh, hold on. Let's see. All right. Question for Esteban. How do you find ways to get creative, or what is your greatest source of inspiration? That's part 1.
Mm-hmm.
So answer that part, and then there's a part 2.
Okay, so how do I find inspiration? I think we talked about it a little bit, where I like to look at a lot of street photographer work. I like to base a lot of my work around composition, shadows, highlights, and being able to look outside of wedding photography and incorporate it into my wedding photography has been something that has really helped my overall work as a whole. So I would say, I think making sure that you're being inspired by things outside of wedding photography are super important. I also like to make sure that I keep in the loop of what's happening in the wedding photography industry. So looking at people that are, again, much better than what I am, like the Christian Cardonas of the world, the Victor Alexis of the world, the Hiram Trillos of the world. Like those are people that you kind of look at, you take inspiration from them, and then you just kind of copy them in the most professional way possible without really blatantly copying them, but taking inspiration from their work and really making it your own. So, but yeah, that's usually what I do. But mostly like a lot of street photography, and then just again, just being part of the community where you're kind of taking inspiration from others and you're making it into your own. Because I think it's very difficult to find originality in the community, but at the same time, I think there is definitely a way to make things your own and to kind of put your own spin on things. So
cool. And then part 2 is, how can I get my hair like yours?
Oh, that's I'm not gonna disclose that information.
Now again, this is coming from Sean.
Oh well,
which if you don't know the golden locks that Sean carries, it's
well, if you were to look at his photo from like 15 years ago,
his raver hair.
I very vividly remember that photo when he posted it. It will never leave my brain for some reason.
Yeah, it's definitely. So if you guys don't follow Sean Lara, please do. He's a character. Again, an ambassador of GEEKOTO. I feel like we have like the best one, so I'm gonna pimp you guys out as much as we can.
Yeah.
But yeah, Sean, like great question on that one. Jorge Rodriguez has one. It says, what has been one of the most embarrassing moments you've done at a wedding, or I'm assuming you said you've had at a wedding?
There really hasn't been super.
Did you mess up your hair in one or something?
No. Oh, actually, I do remember one. So this was when I was shooting a wedding in the middle of the woods in Lake George, and it was my first time using my brand new that had just come out D850. I had purchased 2 D850s. This was like the camera to buy at the time.
The Nikon D850.
You shot
Nikon at one time?
Yeah.
That's new to me. All right.
Yeah, so I had 2 D850s at the time. It was an amazing camera. At the time, it was like the best autofocus you could possibly get. And I was in the middle of the woods in Lake George, New York. It had rained a couple of hours prior to the ceremony, and they were getting married in the woods. The couple were getting married in the woods. And I was by myself because it was more like an elopement, very small. So I took a photo of the bride walking down towards where the ceremony was going to be. And then I turned around and I started running towards where the altar was going to be. And there was a rock full of moss. And
oh my God.
And I slipped and I busted my ass in front of everybody as the ceremony was happening, and literally in front of everybody. And all you heard was maybe like 20, 25 people. All you heard was just a loud gasp from everybody, like, and I just didn't know what to do. But the videographer actually caught it on camera. Oh, and all you hear is this bang of my D850 hitting this rock. It's like this really loud bang. And the cool thing about DSLRs is that they're not like mirrorless cameras. Yeah. They're workhorses.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So
absolutely.
I smacked it. It like the top was like super bent. The hot shoe was super bent. I couldn't use flash, but the camera worked amazing the entire day.
Yeah.
It was a little disappointing because I had just bought the cameras. But yeah, I would probably say in front of all these people, I busted my ass, and I ended up having to work that entire wedding, looking like I shit my pants. Because I was wearing beige pants, and my ass was all brown the entire time from
mossy.
My ass. Yeah, it was terrible.
You had mossy ass.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Props to Nikon for creating an awesome workhorse, because that camera was awesome at the time.
Bella Wang asked if is there any leaked footage is there any footage of that?
Oh, there is. Yeah, I could probably post.
All right.
The photo. Yeah, John, Danny Cash was the photographer. He's a local. The videographer, and he actually. You said
Danny
Cash.
Danny. All right, Danny Cash. If you see this, please post this. Make it public.
Yeah, there's a video of me busting my ass.
Yeah, we got to see it.
He actually lost his drone. What was that big drone, that DJI drone that was like huge?
Spire?
Is it the Inspire? Yeah, that huge. He had that one that day. And because we were in the middle of the woods, it like lost track, and he lost it in the woods. And he paid one of the groomsmen like $300 to go out into the woods and find it. And the guy found it.
Holy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was a good wedding. Yeah.
Nice. So So again, Danny, if you see this,
I can probably reach out to him. And
All right. So Esteban's gonna. That's what I like about you. You're like, let's just do it.
Why not? No, I have no shame.
So
yeah.
Jared Bocanegra, how do you stay so calm during a wedding? I've never seen you drop a sweat.
Yeah, that's one of the things that a lot of people say about me. I think that a lot of the characteristics of a wedding photographer, when they think of a wedding photographer, they think that everyone's going 100 miles an hour. And one of the things that a lot of my second shooters do, or what the feedback that I get from my second shooters is that I'm very calm. I'm not somebody that's like trying to, I don't want to interfere with anything with my emotions. So I'm very much a very laid back person, and I'm very much a fly on the wall when it comes to my weddings. One of the things that a lot of my second photographers say is that and I've gotten this a couple of times where I think Jared being one of them, and Veronica being another one. She second shoots for me a lot. She was just like, "Did you even get any like cool shots during the wedding?" And I'll be like, "Oh, I mean, I don't know. I just shot the wedding like I would any other wedding." And then I go and post the images, and then they'll message and be like, "What the fuck, dude? Like, when did you get these shots? Like, it didn't seem like you got any shots at all." And that's because I don't want to interfere with any sort of thing happening into the wedding. I'm very much there to just document and be a fly on the wall. Yeah. And I compose my images. A lot of my favorite images are ones that I've composed without having any sort of play into what's happening into the frame. So, I just try to stay cool. I'm not there to be a character in the wedding. I don't want to be part of the wedding. I don't want to interfere with any real moments happening. And that's just the way that I've been for the past couple of years. And I'm just super laid back when it comes to them. And I usually get my best work when I'm just kind of stepping back a little bit. So
cool. Do you have a, I don't know, like, do you listen to music? I know you listen to music, but
I'm not a huge music listener, but I do.
Do you have music that you listen to before a wedding, or you just no? Just kind of.
I'm not a music person. I'm not somebody that gets pumped up with music. I do like to go to the gym and I listen to music then. It's funny because I actually sometimes even listen to like audiobooks during the gym, which is people find very weird. They're like,
it's kind of weird.
But
dude, I generally picture you. You know, like Nacho. Like
Nacho Libre?
Nacho Libre.
Nacho?
I picture, Well, I picture, I picture you like, oh man, I can't remember the name of
his partner.
No, not Skeleto. The gold mask. Oh my God, what is his name?
I have no idea.
The big guy.
I know who you're talking about. I don't know what their name is.
It's gonna bug me, dude. This is like my family's favorite movie, one of our favorite movies. Anyways, but when he's getting oiled up and he's on like, Esteban is #1. His legs are #1. Like, I was like, I think like that's what you do before a wedding. You just kind of sit there and just be like, Esteban is #1. Your cameras.
I'm not somebody that requires like hyping up. I'll listen to like a podcast on my way to weddings. If I'm when I do listen to music, I listen to some. I like Disturbed. I like System of a Down. Like I like a lot of harder rock.
Do you have like the soundtrack of your life?
No, like I just don't have that in me. I never grew up with like music or anything like that. I like my favorite band is Fuel. I don't know if you've ever even heard of Fuel. Fuel is a cool band, like a grunge band. But I like that type of music. But I've never felt like I needed music in order to like do well in like a wedding or something like that. So yeah.
So. And by the way, we're having technical difficulties with the camera, my camera, so it's been on you the whole time.
Oh,
so I'm gonna turn it off, let it cool down.
Wow,
for a little bit.
You couldn't even get my good angle.
Oh, that is your good. I was like, you have a good angle. So we're gonna have it just kind of like turn it off for a little bit, and then we'll let it see. Maybe I think it's overheating. And you're right. I think it's a Sony thing.
It's Sony. I
think it's a
told you.
Sony thing.
You have to get yourself some Canons or a Leica.
And then
my new Leica is actually amazing at video. It shoots raw video.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe we'll try that. Maybe we'll just steal yours and just keep it here.
That's not gonna happen.
You don't know. You're getting the ghost.
I will say that I'm actually pretty fucking drunk right now.
So that's good.
And this is my third thing. Yeah. my third fill-up.
Is it?
Right, yeah.
Is it? All right. Well, let's finish that because we're almost done. Look.
Well, we're not even halfway done.
Yeah, we are.
Oh,
dude.
actually, we are, yeah. Okay.
We're past.
Oh, my
we're
goodness.
past
Yeah.
halfway there. All right, guys. Do
I'm
you
getting a little
guys?
sweaty. I feel like
Yeah.
I need to take my shoes off.
So Sean said that you're a beautiful human, and he doesn't mind looking at your sparkly red face. So.
Oh, thank you, Sean. I love you too, buddy.
But keep those questions coming, guys. Again, otherwise we're gonna have to end this short. Well, we've only been on for 2 hours. We've only been here for 2 hours.
Has it really been 2 hours?
It has been an hour and 52 minutes.
Jeez,
Yeah, I know. It's been going fast. It's been pretty good. But this is the thing, dude. So these things, and these are gonna stay up like this. We're not gonna re-edit them. We're not gonna do any other stuff. This is the way they're gonna.
This is raw as it gets.
It's gonna be raw.
I love it. Yeah.
So you say you go to the gym and stuff like that. Is that more for a health thing, or is it something that like a release type thing, or is it a combination of both?
I think it's a little combination of both. I think that I like to structure my day around my gym visits. I think it's more of like an ADHD sort of thing, where I, again, like not to get too personal, but I just was recently diagnosed with ADHD, and it really helps me get my day started or my day structured. And I also kind of enjoy it. I like being able to get away and just kind of just putting my headphones on and just not thinking about a million other things that are happening in my brain. But yeah, it's fun, and there's benefits to it.
No, absolutely,
There's the benefit of obviously being healthier. I've tried to eat healthier in the last couple of months, and it's really paid off. I lost quite a bit of weight, and I just feel good. I feel like when you go to the gym and you find that structure, I feel like you kind of feel better about yourself. Okay. You feel mentally better about yourself, but yeah, it's something that I really enjoy doing. So.
Yeah. So let me see. Sean, how have you been able to build such an awesome community of photographers and bring so many people together?
I mean, I should be asking him that question because he has an awesome community too.
He does.
Yeah.
He has his own group on Facebook as well. We're still in Flint. It's Facebook based, right?
Yeah. We started on Facebook. I think, and I've talked to Sean a couple of times about this too, and it really honestly is about just being yourself. There's nothing really special that comes around it. I think as long as people see the value in what you're providing to them, Did you start still in Flint thinking to make it more into a business type thing, or was it more like, hey, I want something like this. I wish something like this existed, and then you just decided? Yeah,
to
it was kind of like that. I think it was more of like,
and I think honestly, to be honest, I think that is why what the success is. The fact that so many people start stuff like this in trying to monetize it, it kind of takes away from the actual structure of groups that are built into just a sharing community.
Yeah, where it just becomes more like an ad for whatever you're selling. And I've never wanted the group to become any sort of like ad for anything that I'm doing, and that's why I'm very cautious about what I post in the group and what I promote.
And
I
have noticed that. You post very few, and the things that you do post is more in benefit of the entire group.
Yeah, because I want to build. I want to make sure everything is based around educational.
And Sean is doing the same thing. Like he's doing like photo critiques and stuff like that. I was lucky enough to be part of one of his critiques and stuff like that. And you guys do things very similar and stuff, so that's awesome. So
I think when it comes to the whole group thing, I think it's very important to make sure that you're not. And I think as artists, we've already made a choice that we're probably not going to be billionaires at doing this. Like we're not in it for the money, but the beauty of what we do is that we do it because we have a passion for it.
Yeah,
and I've been doing this because I absolutely am obsessed with what I do, and the money comes after. There is money to be made, but at the end of the day, I didn't do this because I want to be rich.
Yeah.
But I'm very fortunate to have built the community around it because of my passion for it, which again, in turn, as a secondary thought, the money comes in where I can do workshops, I can sell things online, I can do all this other stuff. But I think the beauty of what we do is that we kind of just do it because of passion, and then the money comes secondary, because I have a lot of friends that are very successful at what they do, and they're very educated, and they don't make as much money as I do, but at the same time, they're not as passionate at what they do. They might hate what they do.
And Bella brings up a pretty good point. She says, you can feel it when it's all about the sell, in other groups and stuff like that. And that's something that I have seen in, Still in Flint, as well as, Sean's group, that it's more about sharing, more about, like educating. Because I'll be honest with you, man. You're one of the things that really kind of impresses me is the fact that you're such a natural educator when it comes to it. I mean, yesterday, I literally had to stop you from talking.
Well, that's because you wanted to get barbecue.
I was like, that was part of it. That was part of it, And but secondly, it was also one of those things where you're so passionate and you just kind of laid it out there. And yesterday was fantastic because it was a free, anybody who signed up. I mean, it was free attendance to anyone. We had a great group of people that came in. So we're definitely gonna have to. I'm gonna put you on the spot, and you're gonna have to do it again.
Oh yeah, I'd love to do it. I love this. I'm obsessed with what I do. Like I wake up thinking about what I do, and I go to sleep thinking about what I do. Like this is something that I love so much, and I love the idea that I'm fortunate enough to make a living out of it. Like this is an absolute crazy thought to me as somebody that, if I look back at who I was 15, 20 years ago, like if you would have told me that behind
the counter of a
like that's crazy to me. Like if you look at my phone background, it's actually the apartment building that I grew up in, where we didn't really have anything. We were an immigrant family. We came into this country with absolutely nothing.
Your family and yourself, you're originally from Colombia, correct?
Yeah, we're Colombian, and we came out of nothing. We were as poor as you could possibly get.
Which is something that, again, can completely relate to it. It's so crazy on how much we have in common. Yeah. And we met 2 years ago? Mm-hmm. And it's great. It's fantastic. I love, one of the great things on what I can say is the fact that, I appreciate you not only as an admirer of your work, but as a friend as well. So very, very lucky to be part. See, there's a tequila talking now. Because
I know. I feel
any other time I would never be out.
The room might be spinning right now.
So no way.
I'm serious.
Really?
Yeah. This is my third one, or maybe fourth one.
I think that's the fourth one. I think that's the fourth one.
Yeah.
I think that's the fourth one because I think I'm either 4 or 5. I'm always like half a glass ahead of you.
This is not good. You might have to. I might sleep here.
Oh well, that's fine. We've got heater. Yeah, we got a game room as well. Yeah. So, cool. Let me see if we have any other ones, and then we can start kind of wrapping this up. So, Boca Negra, Jared Boca Negra says, "Viva Colombia."
There you go.
Bella Wang says, "So sweet." I think we won Bella over. So
Bella, I love Bella.
One of Bella, which is
bestest friends in the world.
Yeah, and an amazing photographer as well.
She's amazing.
She is absolutely amazing. So thank you so much for introducing her to me. Yeah. This summer. So I'm a fan of Bella as well.
And that's the thing when we go back to talking about people that are not only talented, but they're great.
They said salud. Hey guys, so anytime you guys say salud, we have to take a drink. So
oh god,
salud.
Oh God, this is not good.
All right. You know what, man? I think we have had an absolute. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for setting this up. Let me see. I'm gonna try to turn this camera back on. See if it goes. If it does, fantastic. If not, we're just gonna cue it up to the end. The great thing is that they've been able to see you the entire time. So we'll see what how it goes. But anything else that you want to add? Anything else that you want to talk about a little bit? I've got a couple more questions, and then we'll start wrapping this thing up.
No, I again, thank you for doing this. I love the idea of just sitting here and shooting the shit with you, and having drinks and being as real as possible. So I appreciate you having me on. I appreciate you hosting me yesterday. I think this is one of the things that we've been talking about for a long time. And I'm glad it finally got to happen. But yeah, I hope that this is the first of many visits.
Absolutely is. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing not only you keep growing as a photographer. I really appreciate our friendship for one. Thank you so much for the trust that you've put on GEEKOTO, because I know that's something that hopefully we've earned.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And again, we've here's to the future. So this is what we're gonna do. We gotta finish this off.
Okay.
We're not gonna finish the bottle, obviously.
Thank God.
So, but I'm gonna fill mine back up. We're gonna do one final one. I'm not gonna pour any more on yours.
Yeah.
So you can baby
I don't
that.
know how much more you can put on here.
So you can baby yours.
Okay.
For a little bit, and then we're just gonna finish whatever's left.
Okay.
Of the glass.
Sounds good.
Deal.
Yeah.
Let's see. Randall Mena.
Randall, great photographer.
Yeah. Randall Mena says, role model and complete inspiration from another fellow immigrant living in America and living the dream here.
Damn, Randall's going to make me cry.
So, all right. Again, you guys, thank you so much. Finally, looks like we got the Sonys mixed up. If Sony, you are seeing this, apparently we're having problems with your camera, so please,
we're breaking up with you, Sony. It's probably because I'm here.
I think
Sony
that's what it
knows
is.
how much I don't like them.
I think
you're just losing sponsors on your first episode left and right.
Well, good thing that we're the main sponsor.
Yeah.
So we will call and we will talk, with anyone and people that again. What we were drinking tonight was Lalo tequila.
Are you showing it on your screen, or is it on?
I'm trying to show it on yours, but that's the wrong one. So I'm gonna show.
You are drunk.
I'm not drunk, but I'm definitely it's good. So Lalo tequila is what we had this evening. For the next show, it'll be a surprise, and we will have a surprise guest as well. We will never announce these.
It's just gonna be. It's just gonna be me for every episode.
For every episode, it's just gonna be me. Yeah. I'm just gonna bring you back over and over. But again, thank you so much that you guys that stuck around for this long with it, and again, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
I'm gonna, if you want to say, if there's anything that you want to say before I sign you off, and then from here we'll cue it up and we'll end up finishing this up.
Yeah, no, I again, thank you for having me. Thank you for hosting me today. Thanks for everybody that tuned in. You guys are awesome, and I hope that I like to think that everybody that I connect with online, that I sometimes at some point in my career will get to cross paths with them and at least give them like a high five or a hug like a handshake. I think it's something that I absolutely love, which is why I love going to like these like WPPIs and like all these other things.
Which we're coming up. We got imaging that will be at we'll be here at WPI's GEEKOTO. We'll be at Friends Fearless. Okay. We'll be at imaging. We'll be at Sync, and then we will be at WPPI and at Masterclass in Mexico City.
Nice.
Which is something that we need to talk about.
Yeah.
On that.
Let's do it.
On that. So, again, our last ones, salud.
Salud.
I would like to everybody who was in the room that was assisting us, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks.
I was like, we were introduced to the little mouse that was running around, clinking things around. But all right.
Cheers. Thank you all. Am I supposed to drink all of this? I am. You're gonna have to carry me into my hotel room.
Well,
or am I sleeping at your house?
Yeah, you'll sleep at. You can sleep at the house. It's fine.
Sorry, Mrs. Trillo.
So,
all right, here we go. I'm gonna do this.
All right, guys. Again, thank you so much for everything. Like I was mentioning, so we're gonna end up. So thank you so much, guys, for everybody who stayed here for the duration of this. Hopefully, we didn't make too much fools of ourselves with it. One thing that I would do want to talk about a little bit again for the Black Friday sales, we will have a sale. So check the interwebs on our website. You will have it. Yes, I said interwebs.
You did.
I did say it. I said interwebs.
God, I'm so drunk.
And I'm gonna mute you, dude. So check for that. Again, we will try to do this once a month. In between now and then, though, we will have a lot of other stuff. We'll be doing some tutorials and we're doing some other stuff in between here. But thank you guys so much for sticking around with this. Salucita.
Cheers.
Cheers. Salud.
I'm gonna pretend that I'm gonna drink this.
Cool. And again, if you guys have any questions on anything, please, we're located in Texas, so we're here to help you in anything that we can. Awesome. I'm gonna go again. Thank you, and you guys have a great evening.
Over and out.